Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adorations to the Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha Utpatti Prakarana, Section 7. A general essence is being presented to you, the essential knowledge that leads to liberation. And that's the highlight of Yoga Vasistha. So it's still we are in the introductory stage where sage Vasistha is presenting to Rama a quintessence of what he is going to hear through many days of his talk. That's a storyline. Main point is that you are being given the essential insight into the Vedic knowledge. And therefore it is a very advanced type of topic, and we will try to handle. Sri Rama asks, O sage, by gaining knowledge of the jiva, this individual soul, one does not become liberated. In other words, as you study scriptures and your mind begins to work upon what is the jiva, individual soul, and then you go through a Vedic explanation, the Brahman reflecting in your mind, identified with body, led by karma. That's what jiva is, individual soul. To gaining a knowledge of the predicament of who you are, that becomes the basis. Even that stage of knowledge requires some special understanding. Everyone has a general idea that this is me. And if I'm gone forever. So this is all that life I have, and nothing more. Study scriptures, use your mind. Nothing comes out of zero. You have not just suddenly manifested. You have been from life to life. How many lives? That would hold your mind under control. And it will continue. That's what Rama means by knowing, developing all this, details about the soul. You don't attain liberation. What is then the method of attaining liberation? First point, the soul within you does not belong to the world process. Soul is not one of the many objects of this world. Just like you have Himalayas, you have ocean, You have the stars, you have pole star, you have countless things. If you develop the idea your souls are also somewhere glimmering, twinkling, and will stay twinkling, and even when liberated, it will go on and on in the vast journey. If you have got that idea, that's not real. You are then, no matter how wonderfully you try to imagine about the soul, all that keeps the soul a part of the world process. And world process is not the reality, it's Maya. Your soul does not belong to Maya. At this stage, let me explain to you. All individual souls are called pashu. General meaning, literal meaning is animal. It's easy to understand from science point of view. All are animals. Animals, birds, they all living creatures. But there is a special meaning behind the term pashu. Soul that is fettered by eight qualities or 8 defects. Each defect is called pasha. Pasha is a fetter. Let me enumerate that to you. First is called Dhrina. You won't say Dhrina, you have to see the teeth come out. Dhrina is expressions of contempt. Things are not resolved by developing contempt towards others. If you do that, 90% of that impurity goes in your own heart. 10% blows away. You succeed in hurting yourself. The face that could have been gentle, joyous, now keep it under Dhrina and try to figure out how your eyes twist, your eyebrows, your teeth begin to come out, and muscles lose their relaxation. Dhrina is a very powerful emotion that puts all your nervous system under great stress. And resolving it is not an easy job. But I will not go into that detail at this stage. So, this Dhrina is first. Next is called Lajja. Lajja is feeling shyness. You can learn that shyness from pets. They stay shy, all their nails are in their claws, and the claws are very smooth. They're petting you nicely, very shy. but any moment, claws can come and tear up your eyes. Vast majority of people develop that type of kind of a being shy, considered a kind of culture. But here what we are more highlighting is a shyness that does not allow you to practice sadhana. The people who live in a family of nihilists, and suddenly they have developed the idea that let me learn some yoga and do some japa. But each time they see their family people, they hide their mala. And develop extreme shyness. I'm just trying to give you some idea about it. That's called Lajja. In another context, Lajja can be a good quality. But here it is a negative type of Lajja, type of shyness that doesn't allow you to boldly and joyously follow the spiritual path. Next, Bhaya. Bhaya means fear. Everyone is subject to fear. There is a single day that passes that fear doesn't lurk over the mind of people. Basic fear is fear of death, abhinivesh klesha. And then mind has created its own world, and certain expectation you have held in your mind, and if it is not fulfilled, there is fear. Next is called Shanka. Shanka is doubt. I should have been born in a different family. This family is doubtful. Start my business somewhere else. So you're always doubtful. I'm not talking about mystical Shanka. That also comes within it. It means Shanka means you doubt whether God really is. And if He is really the way Scriptures describe, and if that is so, does He really listen to your prayer? Or you are wasting your time? Many doubts. Is there a duality? Is duality plus non-duality? Or all this is just big zero? So, all that comes under Shanka. And Shanka relating also, will I be able to attain that? I'm just giving a little point because each one can require a volume. Next is called Jugupsa. The very word means whispering. Speaking ill of others is a negative quality, a finger pointing, constantly seeing mistakes of others. And mind gets fascinated by picking up so many mistakes. There is no time to work upon yourself. When you point one finger, God has tricked you, 3 fingers are pointing to you. But your eyes don't care for this. They look at this finger that's pointing to others. Next, fetter or kul. Kul means family line. You're born in the line of Vedic Pandits, line of Dvivedis, people who knew both 2 Vedas, people who knew 3 Vedas, 3 Vedis, 4 Vedas. I'm just giving you one sample. And since you belong to that line, you don't study any of the Vedas, but you have that great vanity and belong to the family that was so popular. And that has, I'm diverting from it, that has created a great business in the world. Everyone wants to know, to which family did I belong? And the more you know about that you have been partly in Russia, partly you have been in France, partly you have been in a mixture of different, and then the sense of great vanity that I'm not an ordinary person. Next is sheel. Sheel refers to courteous manners. Every section of people anywhere in the world, they have adopted certain type of mannerism. And any stranger comes in and they criticize the person. His hat, he doesn't know how to put his hat on. Look at this wretched person, doesn't know how to put his necktie. You judge people on the basis of mannerism. How does he eat? What does he pick up, the spoon or the fork first? Many families, they become deeply involved in criticizing others over very little manners, things that are so useless. And finally, jati, the class into which you are born. Can be born in business class people, can be born in a technical style people. In India, you have clear-cut sections, jati, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra. All these 8 are called pashas. And if you are gripped by all this, then you are called pashu. This soul, lacking enlightenment, continues to move from one body to another. And if all this knowledge you gather about the soul, that doesn't make you pandit. Pandit term is international word. The real meaning of pandit is, panda is that type of insight that separates truth from falsehood. Sat asat vivekini buddhi. And whoever possesses that is called pandit. So if you, by knowing the soul intellectually, you consider yourself pandit, it's wrong. All that you know, the predicament of the soul. A little comfort is there, that you know that person dies, but the soul doesn't. It's led by karmas. But this much knowledge can't give you liberation. As long as this jiva state, soul that moves on from embodiment to another embodiment, as long as this stays, misery, experience of pain and misery cannot terminate. Yoga Vasistha uses the term dukkha parampara, chain of pain. This doesn't relate to the statement, no pain, no gain. Now, why is pain? First understand the definition of pain, even though you may find yourself very happy, but if you have not resolved bondage, if you have not attained enlightenment, in spite of all your happiness, you are going to move from one body to another. Similar experiences come again and again. Each time you are born, you go through a childhood stage, grow, teenager stage, and so forth. Sarvam dukkam vivekina. As subtle understanding develops that the reality of the soul is Brahman. Just like reflected suns in jars of water go through different conditions. They are all variable. The sun is the reality of the reflection. If you realize the reality, then that's the goal. But when you realize the reality, you have not enriched the reality, or you have not done a favor to the reality. A reflected sun doesn't rise to high level, say, "Oh, great Father, Son, I've been separated from you. Now I'm with you." So it's a very advanced state. In God realization is viewed by people that way, and there's no harm in it. But you understand from a very advanced stage that God is not in any way waiting for you. And by your coming, he becomes very happy. Your God realization is a revelation that I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am Satchidananda, I am absolute self. Now coming back to the topic, what's the cause of pain? First, pain I have described. All your experiences in the world are transient. And therefore, you look at all experiences not with a sense that I am going to be fulfilled by them. The sense of being empty in spite of all things can become rich in the eyes of others, can become so many things. But if you have not gained an inner enlightenment and realize I am the self, that self, God alone exists. If you have not, then pain has not gone away. You are being led by karmic process. There are 7 points that go to form the chain of pain. First is pain. Why is pain? Because you are embodied. Who asked you to get into the body? I'm joking. And then why are you embodied? Because karma. And what makes you create karmas? Because the mind swings. The swinging mind is caused by raga and dvesha. Raga is attachment. Dvesha is hatred. You want something and you're fascinated by it. That's raga. By the time you get the thing, you don't like it. You want to throw it away. This is a simple illustration. Same thing that you like in the morning, by the evening you don't like it. In one state of mental mood, you like it. In another state, you don't like it. And that goes on creating karmas. So raga dvesha is the secret behind the formation of karmas. What is secret behind raga dvesha? Attachment, hatred, egoism. Who creates that sense? This is likable. The ego. I like it. I hate it. The I in you. But that I itself is not a reality. I is called ahamta. That I within you is born of lack of discrimination. Because when you start asking the question, who am I? Are you the physical body? Are you the senses? Are you the mind? All these are your instruments. When you sleep, all this moves away. And yet you are so much after pampering the I, ego in you. So that ego sense is born of non-discrimination. You are unable to separate the self from the not self, light from darkness. And what causes non-discrimination? Ajnana, ignorance. Therefore, I have just explained the chain of pain. Pain, embodiment, karma, ragadvesha, ahamta or egoism, avivek or non-discrimination, ajnana, ignorance. If you count them, there will be 7. One point, while I was describing 8 fetters, you must realize that in Hindu culture, this has been given a great importance. Each time you go to a holy place before the statue or before holy personalities, one does Sastanga Pranam, bending down with allowing 8 parts of your body to touch the floor. With the 8th part touching the floor, these 8 points are involved. You are shedding. You have planned a kind of a prayer. May these fetters move away from me, unfetter me. It's like animals, you see, tied to the chain. And they bow down to you. Unchain me. I'm joking. All souls are fettered. So it's called Sastanga Pranam. And if you follow a path that increases these fetters, it's called Dushta path. It's a negative path, wicked path. If you follow the path which resolves these 8 fetters, called Shishta path, the ast going, the 8 term goes on in these words. 8 pashas, and we speak of 3 knots of the heart, granthis. And granthis are karma granthi. You are bonded, soul is bonded by karma. Led by karma, the soul and your body has become profoundly connected. Led by desires, Your soul and your mind have become connected, called karma. And avidya is the ignorance which relates to your deep unconscious. So the soul is in this predicament, having 8 fetters, 3 granthis, and the good news, the potentiality for self-effort. And that has another ramification. Self-effort that blends with grace. Your spiritual movement blends with devotion. And that allows you to go cut down all these 8 fetters and the 3 knots of the heart. And when you cut it all down, then nothing exists. Nobody was there to cut them down. Nothing has been cut down. Sun shines on. Things happen in darkness. Shadows create a lot of drama. Light comes, all the drama has no meaning. Sri Rama asked, "O sage, please enlighten me about Paramatma, the Supreme Self, so that I may become free of all mohas." Mohas are delusions. Moha term is very profound term. As long as the mind is expecting happiness from the world, support from the world, and holding on to limited concepts, gripped by sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa, vikalpa, to and fro, thinking this way, that way. In that, as long as this goes on, the soul is gripped by moha, deluded vision. Paramatma, the Supreme Self, is attained by intuitive knowledge, in Sanskrit called aparoksha jnana. And what does it imply? In allegorical terms, all experiences are based on your winking of your eyes. Spiritual enlightenment, when the winking process stops. It's allegorical language. Easy to understand. When you are watching a cinema show, frame after frame are being projected over the screen at a certain speed. It is, in reality, it is not. Nothing is real that you are watching. But your eyes, because eyes are limited by your winking, eyelids, I'm joking, but also that's allegorical. Your eyes can't detect. If you stop your winking and you could see the screen revealing itself in between the frames, the whole cinema show you will have no interest in that. The screen alone is reality. Of course, the screen example is not so fanciful. But here Satchidananda is the screen. Absolute joy, absolute contentment, absolute sense of immortality is right at this very moment. But your vision doesn't stop, it goes on winking. Kal kal chal chal. One step yesterday is kal. Next day is also kal, 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 kal. And what is in between these two? The screen that disappears. Chal, 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 chal. Deception. Every moment you are gripped by a deceptive awareness. Ignoring the reality and getting involved with projections. You'd figure that out. And this statement is a very advanced stage, but it has its value even in your daily life. If you are worried about so many things, start relaxing. Get to Shavasana. You will be in a better position to handle the challenge. And if you could dive into that state comes by samadhi. You allow the thought waves first to come under control. Secondly, you dive beyond the thought waves. Again, I will remind you of the profounder point. In the state of bondage, all your realities are created by mental projections. That's called bhava pratyaya. Projections create all your realities. Presence of projections. Through yoga, you improve upon the projections. Samadhi leads you to another advanced stage of samadhi. Rolls up the projections. Thereby, screen alone shines forth, rolling back the whole projection movement. That called Nirodh Parinam, Nirodh Samadhi in Raja Yoga. And its terminology is pratyaya bhav. The whole perception process becomes absent. And that's the goal. Just like you experience so many things in your dream, on waking, all that you were experiencing has no value, nothing existed. All the world exists through the pratyaya of the pratyaya, bhav pratyaya. Projections create illusion created by the projections of the mind. The goal is reverse the process. Roll up all the projections and the very mind disappears. That's the ultimate goal. Sri Rama asked, O sage, Paramatma, the Supreme Self, is the reality. But how are we to realize it? How are we to realize that the world we are experiencing doesn't exist? And sage Vasistha relates to Rama this very point that I have been explaining to you about bhav pratyaya versus pratyaya bhav. Projections of the mind that are creating constant illusion of time, space, causation. Those projections to be realized as ignorance, as darkness. Sat is light. Even in ordinary cinema show, if suddenly all your hall lights up, you will see nothing on the screen. So allow the enlightenment to unravel itself. And for that purpose, all the Vedas have presented 4 great utterances. And I will just give you a general idea. They are called Mahavakyas. First Mahavakya, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is pure awareness. It comes from Rig Veda. The Upanishad related to Rig Veda is Aittariya Upanishad. The great utterance is described as Swarupa Bodha. Swarup Bodha means it is giving you the definition of Brahman. Who is Brahman? What is Brahman? What's the essential nature? Second great utterance is called Tattvam Asi. It's called Upadesha Vakya, an utterance of instruction. That's what disciples go to the Guru to receive the instruction. If you know I am Brahman by your own study, then that's not, maybe very dangerous for the world and for yourself. Tattvamasi comes from Samaveda. The Upanishad relating to that is Chandogya Upanishad. Third great utterance is Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Comes from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajurveda, called Anusandhana Vakya, is the basis for your inquiry. Aham Brahmasmi. I am. The mind goes on looking for what that I am. That I am, if you find the pure I am, that's Brahman. Not the deluded notion of I am. And final is called Ayam Atma Brahman. Belongs to 8th Tharva Veda. And the Upanishad related to it is Mandukya Upanishad, called Anubhava Bodha Vakya. The experience of enlightenment, of liberation. So, a deep insight into these great Mahavakyas, they are handled by your mind through a whole process of sadhana, listening, reflection, meditation, and righteous conduct all become involved. Led by that profound inquiry, one develops Brahmakara Vritti. The world experience is done by Vishayakara Vritti. All these are very profound topics, and I'm just giving you simple points. To understand Vishayakara and Brahmakara, let me give you a simple illustration. You are seated by the ocean, came for a trip to enjoy it, the show, whatever nature gives to you. And you sit by the ocean, and your mind goes after counting the waves. And sometimes you are fascinated. One wave comes with such personality that many small waves are dancing around it. And now your mind goes, where did it come from? Where is it going? What will happen to it? That's called Vishayakara Vritti. Another stage of mind, oh, this is ocean. Waves are there, but all those waves are expressing the existence of the ocean. They are all glorifying the ocean. They are not separate from the ocean. All this world is nothing but Brahman. So the mind opens up in a profound way, though you are not looking at everywhere to see all this Brahman. Even a small little thing that comes before you, just like you are looking at, if it's just a small wave, and your mind has, oh, this is ocean. Figure that out. It is on that basis you hear the biblical statement, consider the lilies of the field. How do they grow? Even just a lily is bringing to you the majesty and the glory of the entire creation. That type of movement, the mind that is flows towards the absolute reality, not towards the deluded projections. Mind that is picking up the show that is going on the screen, and the mind that goes after the screen, transcending the show. That mind that goes after the screen, sees the screen. That's called Vishaya Brahmakara Vritti. But when the mind sees the screen, the mind itself disappears, because you go to cinema so for manoranjan, for mental entertainment. And when the mind has discovered all this doesn't exist, there is no entertainment mind. So with the Brahmakara Vritti, the mind dissolves. With Vishayakara Vritti, mind goes on maintaining itself. These are all profound topics, and you have to work upon them. And with this I am going to conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.